Decisions, decisions, decisions. This is a big one for me. They're all big in different ways, but this is a huge factor of a trader's success or failure, and that's decision making. Now, everything we do is a decision, absolutely everything, and those decisions are magnified in terms of your trading success or failure. You know, looking at the resilience video, the decision to revenge trade, the decision to choose what you risk, the decision to let fear or greed overrule rational thinking. The decision to watch this video properly and pay attention is a decision that will shape what you pick up from it. The decision to shortcut everything will have consequences. And I guess where we are right now, in any form of life, in trading, in your body, in your physiology, in terms, they're all consequences to the decisions you've made. Okay. Anybody who's eating a McDonald's every day all year and is 35 stone, that's a consequence to the decisions and choices they've made. Anyone who looks like Arnie in his time was a consequence to the decisions that he made at the time. Yeah. So in trading, well, in algo trading, we're making less day-to-day decisions based on, do I enter this? Do I close this? Where do I put my stop loss? Where do I put my take profit? All of that stuff is actually taken care of. But we're still going to be making decisions, choosing set files, how you diversify your accounts, whether or not you're applying understanding or if you're applying stuff that isn't right because you've not got the understanding, how you react to losses, how just loads of stuff, right? So in this video, I'm going to talk through my take on decision making. I'm going to give you some factors to consider, contemplate, and a couple of tips that I know traders that have taken on board my tips and some of these killer questions that you can ask yourself who have made absolutely huge progress in their results because of the decisions and the thinking that they're now deploying, which they weren't before. They were reactive, emotional beings. Now they're rational, not emotional, and they are really considering the potential outcomes and the domino effect of decision one. A bit like playing chess. There's a great book, How Life Imitates Chess. Chess players think many, 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 many moves ahead. So that one move they're thinking about what the opposition is going to do in relation to that move, and then what their next decision would be based on all of them potential counter moves. So if you think of that like a spidergram, it's huge in terms of various levels deep. And the great traders are good at that. Yeah. So if I revenge trade, what might then happen? Well, I might win and make a load of money, or I might lose and lose a load of money. If that happened, how am I going to then react to that? Well, I might take another revenge trade and then blow my account. I might then, whatever, right? So let me run through this. You're going to take some actionable decision making steps away from this. So decisions shape our destiny. Mr. Tony Robbins, we all should know who he is, I'd have thought. That's one of his little buzzword quotes, and it's so true for the reasons that I've already gone through. So when we look at factors to consider with decision making, we've got things like, well, what's the ultimate outcome that you're looking to achieve? What are the variables? Are there deadlines? What's possible and probable, right? And when you get some of this stuff, it blends into other areas of your life, right? Because that's a probability thing. And like people say, oh, that's a coincidence. Well, it's not coincidence. It's just probability. Yeah. Risk, stress, uncertainty. We'll see people around us making poor decisions that aren't really contemplated. Now, one of my things as well is that there are pros and cons to everything. There is no upside without downside. There is no downside without upside, as long as we can cognitively properly explore it and really give that a level of thought. So everything has upsides. Any decision you make has upsides and downsides, absolutely balanced. You've just got to choose, the best worst case scenario is probably the best way of putting it. So trading's a strange one, right? We're taught at school good decisions, good outcomes, um, you know, in the education system. Now, trading's one of those things where that doesn't apply. Good decisions, good outcomes aren't guaranteed. Yeah. And in fact, what happens is bad decisions can give good outcomes and vice versa. Yeah. Because ultimately, we can revenge trade and it can win. Well, it was a bad decision, but you got rewarded for the bad decision, which then messes you up a little bit with, oh, last time I did it, it did work, when it's the wrong decision. And actually, probability will play out more times and humble you more times than you get lucky. Okay. But it's definitely something to be totally aware of. In this question here, are you making a decision from a rational point or an emotional point? If it's an emotional point, go for a walk and come back to it later. But you've got to ask yourself that question. Maybe have it, you know, on your workstation, on your desk, on your laptop. Am I being rational? Because that's a good actionable step to take away. And if you can't answer that question rationally with a yes, then don't make the decision, right? So decision fatigue as well is a thing. Yeah, I used to find this a lot, trading technical analysis, and the amount of decisions you would make, it would just cause you so much mental fatigue, um, depression almost sometimes, just because it's like, oh, my brain is exhausted. So remove as many as you can. I literally wear a black t-shirt every day. Yeah. Any decision that we need to make, like around the house, where to go, or what we're doing, or what Hoover we buy next, or what bed the wife wants to buy, are recent things. It's like, just crack on. I don't need to be involved, in that decision. Make a decision and let's go. So what you wear, what you eat, routines, if you're waking up when you're a full-time trader and thinking, now what do I do today? There's too many decisions there. I've been there when you all of a sudden get a load of time, that can also be quite draining. So remove as many decisions as you can, create the habits and routines that you use discipline to stick to, and you will find that you have more mental bandwidth to be able to handle more decisions. Yeah. Or actually just deal with them better. Yeah. Now, my killer question is this. Okay. Really take note on this. This is what is the game changer, in my opinion, for people that pay attention to what I'm about to say. So, the killer question to ask yourself in your mind is, how would I feel if? Okay. How would I feel if? How do you use that? Well, if you're about to do something, how would I feel if this worked? Probably cock a hoop, right? How would I feel if it didn't? Totally devastated that I've just lost 10 grand in my trading account or lost my funded account. Okay. If that's bigger than, if that's a really powerful feeling, you wouldn't do it, right? How would I feel if I'm wrong? How would I feel if I'm right? What's the next level of that? If I'm wrong, what's that then going to cause me to think, feel, and do? Like the chess analogy. Thing is, a lot of traders don't contemplate being wrong. They think this is a surefire, high probability setup or whatever they're doing, and they don't really comprehend. Like with Banker EA, we've got various forms of risk management. Some will go, I'm going to go with the global risk. Some will go individually. And some don't really go there with, how am I going to feel if I wipe that or lose that amount of money? How am I going to feel if that lot size gets really big? Is that in line with my psychology or not? So that's a real, I think it's a grounding thing. The how would I feel if brings you right back to the present moment, where you can really contemplate and reflect on, do you know what? That is too risky. Although I feel it's a confident setup, by risking what I'm risking, if that loses, that's going to really, hurt me. It's going to cause me to be in so much distress. It can be the difference, right? And this, how would I feel if, using it in challenges. So it might be you've had a great week and it's NFP Friday afternoon and you have a decision to make. Either turn off and enjoy your long weekend, or continue to trade and let greed or fear and impatience of, you've got a little bit left of profit to go on that challenge, and you're sort of like impatient with it. A good decision would be, well, how would I feel if I traded through NFP and then wiped off 3 or 4% of my P&L? I'm going to feel really shit. The weekend's going to be a disappointment because I've, given back the profit and I've, made a poor decision and blah, blah, blah. And it's going to swim into then how I feel next week, as opposed to, do you know what? How would I feel if I lost that? It wouldn't be good. But how would I feel if actually I did just turn off, be grateful for what I've banked already, and enjoy a great weekend, knowing that I've had a good week. I don't need to be in during that NFP news release, and I'm going to come back Monday. Well, in that scenario, I would be stunned if a trader decided to trade through NFP because they've not gone through this process. But if they ask yourself, how would I feel if I traded, it didn't work out? I traded and it did. Cool. But the pain of it not working out is greater than the how I would feel if I just tweaked that little bit more, because actually, I've had a good week and I know for a fact I can turn off now, be at peace with the fact that I'm not trading for the rest of the day, and enjoy a better weekend. That is fundamental stuff that can have such a vast difference to where you then end up. Okay. So, what's the next level? What might I then do? What this does then also, the final point on this, it removes hindsight. It definitely removes hindsight, because when you give this proper thought and contemplation, this doesn't factor in, because you've basically covered all angles here. You've covered what the next levels to that are. If you don't do this, what happens is your brain goes, I wish I'd have done that. I wish I hadn't have done that. I wish I had done that. I wish I'd have stopped for that NFP. I wish I hadn't traded through NFP. Yeah, in that last example. Whereas if you've done all this, what happens is you're at peace. Do you know what? I knew that this is how I would think and feel over that outcome. I'm totally at peace with the decision I made. Off I carry on with life. Yeah. So in summary, decision making will shape your destiny. Mr. Tony Robbins says that. Bad decisions can have good outcomes. Everything has pros and cons. Remove as many decisions as you can from other things. The killer question is, how would I feel if? And that's going to remove this hindsight bias so you can make decisions and be at peace with them. So, one to really pay attention to and to start executing that into other areas of your life, and it will flow into your trading and vice versa. So, see you on the next one.